do not know how. I don't experience panic attacks as much as, I guess, normal, you could call it. But I found a way to deal with it. For today's midnight gospel, it's night. It's 10 p.m. actually, not midnight, but you know, I like the name, so can't take that away from me. Let's go to my notebook on page. Wait, let's do some ASMR. Oh man, the mic can't pick it up. Here, I wrote this minutes ago, half an hour, I guess. With that, right here. Yeah. Okay. It starts with, the thing is, I was reading my Bible, and I said, "Oh, I want to do my devotionals," but I was lost. I was like, "What part of the Bible I read?" And I'm already in Luke, right? And I have a bookmark, and it's pointed in Luke, and I said, "Oh, okay. What can I up understand now that I can apply it in the future and share it in my podcast?" And it's talking about anxiety, and I love this because it's actually only taking two verse, but it's so like really compact that when you unpack it and really dissect it, dice by dice, it's full of meaning, and you could have so many interpretations of it. Excuse me, and so many lesson. I mean, I guess it's a one lesson, but many smaller details revolving around it. So let's start. We first start on Luke chapter 12, verse 25. And I've, wait, no, ESV, sorry. It says here, "And which of you, by being anxious, can add a single hour to his span of life?" And I mean, I get it. Some there so many things are so easy to say, but so difficult to actually apply. It's easy to say, "I'm not worrying," or "don't worry," but when times of worry actually come, it's hard to remember God's word and apply his lessons, and over it's easy to overlook him and face the struggles and hardships on our own. It's just simple. Simple to say, hard to do. That simple. But it's true though. You can't deny that. By being anxious, and which of you by being anxious can add a single hour to his span of life? And this part, span of life, it can really be many things. Like the life could be swapped for another word. This- Like I don't know. I interpreted this in a way. Nah, let's say you have so many tasks to do, and you're panicking and you're anxious. How will I submit this? And you're panicking on how can I do this? And you're anxious, and you're over and over and over. You're overthinking, and you're over and over and over in that specific thought. You're stuck, and you're jailed in that thought, and you can't get out. And this part can add by being anxious can add a single hour to a span of life. You could swap that last part to that life to something else. Like it's not a it's not literally life. It could be something else. Like hold on. Um, like I guess it's more of like a kind of a parable. Hmm. What's the word for it? I forgot. But it's more of like a, like you worry about this thing, you're anxious about it, but it's not gonna do anything for you. You're anxious over that deadline, the task that you have to do. You're over and over and over it. I mean, you're pacing back and forth. It's not gonna finish itself. No life is added. No hour to your life is added. So you gotta do that. You can't just be stuck to it. In this actually I know, I love this tawag dito, since I love space, right? And I love the Apollo missions. In this particular Apollo mission, I'm literally gonna search it up right now. Oh yeah, Apollo 13. Um, it was, they had the rupture of the oxygen tank, right? And it was very dangerous. When all hell was breaking loose in that aircraft, which they were they were going to the moon, and they're almost to the moon, right? They can't just like turn back and and go back to Earth, like you're like when you're like you left your keys at your home. You can't just turn back and like say, "Oh, we forgot to do this. Let's just do it." No, they were going to the moon. They were circling the moon, and they cannot do anything about it. And they were gonna die if they mess a single thing up. And one of the crew was said that they did not panic because they could panic for thousands of, was that hours or days, but they could panic and scream and cry for hours and hours, for countless hours, for thousands of hours, over thousands of days, and at the end of it, nothing would have been done. Nothing would have been fixed. When you're anxious about anything, it's okay to be anxious because those are feelings. God created feelings. God allows feelings. God knows our feelings. It's okay to be anxious, but you can't let that that anxiety hold you back. Feel the feeling, then you gotta move on. You know, when you're sad, let's say you dropped your ice cream while you're walking on your way home. It's sad. The ice cream is dropped. You lost your ice cream, but you still gotta go home. You still gotta walk, right? When you run out of gas when you're on a trip, you stop by to get gas, but you still continue the trip. You pause, you hold, you feel, and you move on and go. I know it's easy to say. I know it's easy to say, but it's hard to do. It's difficult to implement, but it's gotta happen one way or another. It's gotta go. And in verse 30 of the same chapter 12, it says, "For all the nations of the world seek after these things, and your Father knows you need them." God, our Father, knows what we need. Excuse me. God knows what we need. He knows. He knows what we need physically, mentally, spiritually. He knows what we need. He knows us deeply. He's intimate with us. He knows that, right? It says God, I wrote here, God knows all these things we need and all the things we are going through. That feeling of depression, of sadness, of anxious, of overthinking. He knows we're going through that. He knows what we need. You can trust on that. And that alone actually gives me a bit of comfort Because sometimes when you're having a problem, sometimes you don't want to solve it right away. Sometimes you just want to pause, reflect on what's happening, and then go, right? But sometimes it feels lonely, and we're like, I just sometimes you just feel like you need someone to be with you right now. You don't need it. Sometimes you don't you feel like you don't need help, but you need a person to accompany you as you're fixing the situation. God knows that. God is there for us. He's gonna give us the solution, but we still gotta work for it. But if you wanna do things your own way, God's still there. If you fail, well, you can trust on God to lead you. If you wait for God, it will happen, right? And then I said, I wrote here. I don't know why, but I wrote here that pray not for a lighter load, but for the strength, because God knows how much we can handle. True. God knows. God puts us through this because He knows that we can get through this. He knows you can get through that situation. He knows you can get through that problem. He knows you can tackle that. He wants you to learn from it. That's why He put you through that. That's why He allowed it to happen, to build you up, right? Because, but you say, but it's too much. I can't handle this. Yeah, I'm weak. Yeah, I'm weak too. I can't handle this too. I cannot, right? We may fail with our own strength, with our own strength, but we're weak because He pictured us doing it with Him. He didn't when He put us through that situation, whatever situation you're going through right now, or whatever situation you was going through. He didn't He put you through that. Like there's like situations where you are just tested. All your faith and trust is just tested. All your strength is tested. And you're like, God, I can't do this. You can. God knows. You can't, maybe you can't do it alone. Maybe you can't do it you can't do it with your own strength. But with God you can, because God's strength is infinite and nothing's too small for Him. Nothing's too strong for Him. And he pictured you going through that situation with Him. That's what He pictured. When He gave you a box full of lessons and learnings, it's hard to lift up because you're not meant to lift it alone. You're not meant to walk alone. When He gave you that box of of trials, He pictured you lifting the left and Him lifting the right. Both of you together in that situation. That's how He pictured you. That's why He put you through that. That's why He put me through my past. And I overlooked that. And I hope I won't overlook it anymore. Final part. Have confidence that God is working even when you don't see it. God sometimes works in the backgrounds. God sometimes He works in the mysteries and in things where you cannot see, but you'll just at the end of what you're going through, you're just gonna say, "Oh, that's God. That's gotta be God. No way I could have done that by myself. It's definitely God." And yeah, it is definitely God. In Psalms 23, the end of it, the final part of Psalm 23, it says, "And I will dwell in the house of the Lord forever." And it's the psalmist's reminder that God is always with us and that we are always with God. Have strength, faith, and courage. When we pick up our cross, we're meant to walk with Him. When you have that anxiety, that's part of the cross that you pick up daily. When you follow Him, it's going to be difficult. Many things will happen. But it's a part of walking Him. But the reward of going with Him, daily, in every single moment, I think that's worth it. It's really worth it.